Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So this is the weekly Bible reading video. Started back in Genesis 1:1 and are gradually working our way all the way through the Bible. I missed last week because I have been very sick over the past few weeks, and last week my breathing would not allow me to read through much of anything. I could barely talk. So today we are beginning the book of Leviticus, and we're going to be reading the next portion of scripture, which is the first 5 chapters of Leviticus. I was going to try to attempt to do a double portion this week, but I'm still not 100%, and I know my voice is not going to let me get all the way through it. So the Bible that I'm reading from is the CJB Bible. It's my favorite version of the Bible. I have a lot of them, but this is my favorite. And so let's begin with prayer. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gives the Torah of truth and the good news of salvation to your people Israel and to all people through your Son, Yeshua the Messiah, Jesus the Christ. Amen. Leviticus chapter 1. Yahweh called to Moshe and spoke to him from the tent of meeting. He said, "Speak to the people of Israel. Say to them, when any of you brings an offering to Yahweh, you may bring your animal offering either from the herd or from the flock. If his offering is a burnt offering from the herd, he must offer a male without defect. He is to bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting, so that it can be accepted by Yahweh. He is to lay his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it will be accepted on his behalf to make atonement for him. He is to slaughter the young bull before Yahweh, and the sons of Aaron the Kohanim are to present the blood. They are to splash the blood against all sides of the altar, which is by the entrance to the tent of meeting. He is to skin the burnt offering and cut it into pieces. The descendants of Aaron the Cohen are to put fire on the altar and arrange wood on the fire. The sons of Aaron the Kohanim are to arrange the pieces, the head and the fat on the wood which is on the fire on the altar. He is to wash the entrails and lower parts of the legs with water, and the Kohen is to cause all of it to go up in smoke on the altar as a burnt offering. It is an offering made by fire, a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. If his offering is from the flock, whether from the sheep or from the goats, for a burnt offering he must offer a male without defect. He is to slaughter it on the north side of the altar before Yahweh, and the sons of Aaron the Kohanim are to splash its blood against all the sides of the altar. He is to cut it into pieces, and the Kohen is to arrange them with the head and the fat on the wood which is on the fire on the altar. He is to wash the entrails and lower parts of the legs with water, and the Kohen is to offer it all and make it go up in smoke on the altar as a burnt offering. It is an offering made by fire, a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. If his offering to Yahweh is burnt offering of birds, he must offer a dove or a young pigeon. The Kohen is to bring it to the altar, snap off its head, and make it go up in smoke on the altar. Its blood is to be drained out on the side of the altar. He is to remove the food pouch and its feathers from its neck and discard it on the pile of ashes just east of the altar. He is to pull it open with a wing on each side, but without tearing it in half. The Kohen is to make it go up in smoke on the altar. On the wood, which is on the fire, as a burnt offering, is an offering made by fire, a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. Chapter 2. Anyone who brings a grain offering to Yahweh is to make his offering of fine flour. He is to pour olive oil on it and put frankincense on it. He is to bring it to the sons of Aaron the Kohanim. The Kohen is to take a handful of fine flour from it, together with its olive oil and all its frankincense, and make this reminder portion go up in smoke on the altar as an offering made by fire, a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. But the rest of the grain offering will belong to Aaron and his sons. It is an especially holy part of the offering for Yahweh made by fire. When you bring a grain offering which has been baked in the oven, it is to consist of either unleavened cakes made of fine flour mixed with olive oil, or matzah spread with olive oil. If your offering is a grain offering cooked on a griddle, it is to consist of unleavened fine flour mixed with olive oil. You are to break it in pieces and pour olive oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your offering is a grain offering cooked in a pot, it is to consist of fine flour with olive oil. You are to bring the grain offering prepared in any of these ways to Yahweh. It is to be presented to the Kohen, and he is to bring it to the altar. The Kohen is to remove the reminder portion of the grain offering and make it go up in smoke on the altar, as an offering made by fire, a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. But the rest of the grain offering will belong to Aaron and his sons. It is an especially holy part of the offerings for Yahweh made by fire. No grain offering that you bring to Yahweh is to be made with leaven, because you are not to cause any leaven or honey to go up in smoke as an offering made by fire to Yahweh. As an offering of first fruits, you may bring these to Yahweh, but they are not to be brought up onto the altar to make a fragrant aroma. You are to season every grain offering of yours with salt. Do not omit from your grain offering the salt of the covenant with your God, but offer salt with all your offerings. If you bring a grain offering of first fruits to Yahweh, you are to bring as the grain offering from your first fruits kernels of grain from fresh ears, dry roasted with fire. Put olive oil on it, and lay frankincense on it. It is a grain offering. The Kohen is to cause the reminder portion of it, its grits and olive oil, with all its frankincense, to go up in smoke. It is an offering made by fire for Yahweh. Chapter 3. If his offering is a sacrifice of peace offerings, then if he offers before Yahweh an animal from the herd, then no matter whether it is a male or a female, it must be without defect. He is to lay his hand on the head of his offering and slaughter it at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And the sons of Aaron, the Kohanim, are to splash the blood against all the sides of the altar. He is to present the sacrifice of the peace offerings as an offering made by fire to Yahweh. It is to consist of the fat covering the inner organs, all the fat above the inner organs, the 2 kidneys, the fat on them near the flanks, and the covering of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. Aaron's sons will make it go up in smoke on the altar on top of the burnt offering, which is on the wood on the fire. It is an offering made by fire, a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. If his offering for a sacrifice of peace offerings to Yahweh is from the flock, then when he offers it, no matter whether it is male or female, it must be without defect. If he brings a lamb for his offering, then he is to present it before Yahweh. He is to lay his hand on the lamb for his offering, then he is to present it before Yahweh. He is to lay his hand on the head of the offering and slaughter it at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And the sons of Aaron are to splash its blood against all the sides of the altar. From the sacrifices made as peace offerings, he is to present Yahweh with an offering made by fire. It is to consist of fat, the entire fat tail, which he will remove close to the lower backbone, the fat covering the inner organs, all the fat above the inner organs, the 2 kidneys, the fat on them near the flanks, and the covering of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. The Kohen will make it go up in smoke on the altar. It is food, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. If his offering is a goat, then he is to present it before Yahweh. He is to lay his hand on its head and slaughter it in front of the tent of meeting. And the sons of Aaron are to splash its blood against all the sides of the altar. He is to present from it his offering, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. It is to consist of the fat covering the inner organs, all the fat above the inner organs, the 2 kidneys, the fat on them near the flanks, and the covering of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. The Kohen will make them go up in smoke on the altar. It is food, an offering made by fire to be a fragrant aroma. All the fat belongs to Yahweh. It is to be a permanent regulation through all your generation, wherever you live, that you will eat neither fat nor blood. Chapter 4. Yahweh said to Moshe, "Tell the people of Israel, if anyone sins inadvertently against any of the mitzvot of Yahweh, concerning things which should not be done, if he does any one of them, then if it is the anointed Kohen who sinned and thus brought guilt on the people, he is to offer Yahweh a young bull without defect as a sin offering for the sin he committed. He must bring the bull to the entrance to the tent of meeting before Yahweh, lay his hand on the bull's head, and slaughter the bull in the presence of Yahweh. The anointed Kohen is to take some of the bull's blood and bring it to the tent of meeting. The Kohen is to dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle some of the blood 7 times in the presence of Yahweh, in front of the curtain of the sanctuary. The Kohen is to put some of the blood on the horns of the altar for fragrant incense before Yahweh, there in the tent of meeting. All the remaining blood of the bull he is to pour out at the base of the altar for burnt offerings, which is at the entrance to the tent of meeting. He is to remove from the bull for the sin offering all of its fat, the fat covering the inner organs, all the fat above the inner organs, the 2 kidneys, the fat on them near the flanks, and the covering of the liver, which he will remove with the kidneys. as it is removed from an ox sacrificed as a peace offering. And the Kohen is to make these parts go up in smoke on the altar for burnt offerings. But the bull's hide and all its flesh, with its head, lower parts of the legs, and its inner organs and dung, in other words, the entire bull, he is to bring outside the camp to a clean place where the ashes are emptied out. There he is to burn it on wood with fire. There, where the ashes are emptied out, it is to be burned up. If the entire community of Israel inadvertently makes a mistake, with the assembly being unaware of the matter, and they do something against any of the mitzvot of Yahweh concerning things which should not be done, they are guilty. When the sin they have committed becomes known, then the assembly is to offer a young bull as a sin offering and bring it before the tent of meeting. The leaders of the community are to lay hands on the bull's head and slaughter the bull in the presence of Yahweh. The anointed Kohen is to bring some of the bull's blood to the tent of meeting. The Kohen is to dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times in the presence of Yahweh in front of the curtain. He is to put some of the blood on the horns of the altar before Yahweh, there in the tent of meeting. All the remaining blood he is to pour out at the base of the altar for burnt offerings, which is at the entrance of the tent of meeting. He is to remove all its fat and make it go up in smoke on the altar. This is what he is to do with the bull. He must do the same with that bull as he does with the one for the sin offering. Thus the Kohen will make atonement for them, and they will be forgiven. He is to bring the bull outside the camp and burn it as he burned the first bull. It is the sin offering for the assembly. When the leader sins and inadvertently does something against any of the mitzvot of Yahweh concerning which things that should not be done, he is guilty. If the sin which he committed becomes known to him, he is to bring as his offering a male goat without defect, lay his hand on the goat's head, and slaughter it in the place where they slaughter the burnt offering in the presence of Yahweh. It is a sin offering. The Kohen is to take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger and put it on the horns of the altar for burnt offerings. Its remaining blood he is to pour out at the base of the altar for burnt offerings. All its fat he is to make go up in smoke on the altar, like the fat of the sacrifice for peace offerings. Thus the Kohen will make atonement for him in regard to his sin, and he will be forgiven. If an individual among the people commits a sin inadvertently, doing something against any of the mitzvot of Yahweh concerning things which should not be done, he is guilty. If the sin he committed becomes known to him, he is to bring as an offering a female goat without defect for the sin he committed. Lay his hand on the head of the sin offering and slaughter the sin offering in the place of burnt offerings. The Kohen is to take some of its blood with his finger and put it on the horns of the altar for burnt offerings. All its remaining blood he is to pour out at the base of the altar. All its fat he is to remove, as the fat is removed from the sacrifice for peace offerings, and the Kohen is to make it go up in smoke on the altar, a fragrant aroma for Yahweh. Thus the Kohen will make atonement for him, and he will be forgiven. If he brings a lamb as a sin offering, he is to bring a female without defect. Lay his hand on the head of the sin offering, slaughter it as a sin offering in the place where they slaughtered the burnt offerings. The Kohen is to take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger and put it on the horns of the altar for burnt offerings. All its remaining blood he is to pour out at the base of the altar. All its fat he is to remove, as the fat of a lamb is removed from the sacrifice for peace offerings. And the Kohen is to make it go up in smoke on the altar on top of the offerings for Yahweh made by fire. Thus the Kohen will make atonement for him in regard to the sin he committed, and he will be forgiven. Chapter 5. If a person who is a witness, sworn to testify, sins by refusing to tell what he has seen or heard about the matter, he must bear the consequences. If a person touches something unclean, whether the carcass of an unclean wild animal, a domestic animal, or a reptile, he is guilty, even though he may not be aware that he is unclean. If he touches some human uncleanness, no matter what the source of his uncleanness is, and is unaware of it, then when he learns of it, he is guilty. If someone allows to slip from his mouth an oath to do evil or to do good, and he doesn't remember that he clearly spoke this oath, then, no matter what it was about, when he learns of it, he is guilty. A person guilty of any of these things is to confess in what manner he sinned, and bring his guilt offering to Yahweh for the sin he committed. It is to be a female from the flock, either a lamb or a goat, as a sin offering, and the Kohen will make atonement for him in regard to his sin. If he can't afford a lamb, he is to bring as his guilt offering for the sin he committed 2 doves or 2 young pigeons for Yahweh, the one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering. He is to bring them to the Kohen, who will offer the one for a sin offering first. He is to wring its neck but not remove the head. Sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar and drain out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. He is to prepare the second as a burnt offering in the manner prescribed. Thus the Cohen will make atonement for him in regard to the sin which he committed, and he will be forgiven. But if his means are insufficient, even for 2 doves or 2 young pigeons, then he is to bring as his offering for the sin he committed 2 quarts of fine flour for a sin offering. He is not to put any olive oil or frankincense on it, because it is a sin offering. He is to bring it to the Cohen, and the Cohen is to take a handful of it as a reminder portion, and make it go up in smoke on the altar on top of the offerings for Yahweh made by fire. It is a sin offering. Thus the Cohen will make atonement for him in regard to the sin he committed concerning any of these things, and he will be forgiven. The rest will belong to the Kohanim, as with the grain offering. Yahweh said to Moshe, if anyone acts improperly and inadvertently sins in regard to the holy things of Yahweh, he is to bring as his sin offering for Yahweh a ram without defect from the flock, or its equivalent in silver shekels, using the sanctuary shekel as the standard, according to your appraisal of its value. It is a guilt offering. In addition, he is to make restitution for whatever he did wrong in regard to the holy things. Moreover, he is to add to that 1/5 and give it to the Cohen. Then the Cohen will make atonement with the ram of the guilt offering, and he will be forgiven. If someone sins by doing something against any of the mitzvot of Yahweh concerning things that should not be done, he is guilty, even if he is unaware of it, and bears the consequences of his wrongdoing. He must bring a ram without defect from the flock, or its equivalent according to your appraisal, to the Cohen for a guilt offering. The Cohen will make atonement concerning the error which he committed, even though he was unaware of it, and he will be forgiven. It is a guilt offering, and he is certainly guilty before Yahweh. Yahweh said to Moshe, if someone sins and acts perversely against Yahweh by dealing falsely with his neighbor in regards to a deposit or security entrusted to him, by stealing from him, by extorting him, or by dealing falsely in regards to a lost object that he has found, or by swearing to a lie. If a person commits any of these sins, then if he sinned and is guilty, he is to restore whatever it was he stole or obtained by extortion, or whatever was deposited with him, or the lost object which he found, or anything about which he has sworn falsely. He is to restore it in full, plus an additional 1/5. He must return it to the person who owns it on the day when he presents his guilt offering. He is to bring as a guilt offering to Yahweh a ram without defect from the flock, or its equivalent according to your appraisal, to the Cohen. It is a guilt offering. Thus the Cohen will make atonement for him before Yahweh, and he will be forgiven in regards to whatever it was he did that made him guilty. All right, that is Leviticus chapters 1 through 5. You can join me tomorrow morning on Saturday at 8 a.m. Central Time for a live Bible reading and fellowship. We do that every week. And be sure to check out my new website, walkingintorah.com, where you can find a growing library of Bible study articles and resources. With that, may the Father bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and give you peace. In the name of the Prince of all Peace, Yeshua HaMashiach. God bless, and I'll talk to y'all next time.